It is finally here, the Toyota GR-GT, and in this video, of course, we're gonna talk about this design. Finally, some more long hood front engine. Actually, this is mid-engine. I'm gonna show you in a side view in a minute just where the engine is positioned in this vehicle. We're gonna have a look at the front end, the side. We don't have any press photos from the side. I don't understand when you have a car that looks this good with this long hood, we need to have a proper side view, but we don't have that, so I'm going to take another photo for that. And of course, the rear view interior, compare it to the Lexus Sport concept, because if I look at this to me almost looks more like a Lexus than a Toyota, and the Lexus Sport concept feels more like a Toyota than a Lexus. It's kind of strange. I'm going to let you know why when we jump in to Photoshop and have a look at this beast of it. I mean, this is the most powerful Toyota ever made. V8 power, you have electrification as well, so the torque is going to be instant, around 641 horsepower they say, so it's a pretty cool vehicle. I mean, the design looks cool. It's not particularly beautiful, I wouldn't say, but it looks functional. It almost looks like a Le Mans racer straight for the road. Before we jump into Photoshop here though, let's have a look at this Car Scoops article and let me know what you think about this design down in the comments before we jump in here. So pause the video, comment down below, what are your thoughts on this? The initial impressions you had when you first saw the first 5 seconds, where it's like blown away or a little bit disappointment? Let me know in the comments below. So Toyota GR-GT looks like a Batmobile and hits like a supercar. The long-awaited GR-GT emerges after years of development. We've seen so many spy photos of this vehicle, pairing a new twin-turbo V8 hybrid system with racing DNA and LFA spirit. I still don't think that... We now know, for example, that the Lexus Sport concept is going to be a full EV. So they say that is going to replace the LFA. It just can't, because it's an EV. 90% of what was so special about the LFA was the engine. So it's not going to be a replacement for that for sure. The buyers of the LFA are not going to be wanting to buy the sports coupe just because it's an EV. It's just a fact. So bespoke alloy frame and carbon parts keep weight under 3,900 pounds. So it's a pretty lightweight thing, this thing. Twin turbo V8, 4-liter V8, hybrid setup, 641 horsepower or more. They say that this is still under development, so it's not in its final form just yet. So it follows the lineage of the Toyota 2000 GT. Absolutely beautiful looking car. I don't know how much those go for these days. Very, very expensive. So probably one of the most expensive Toyotas ever made if you buy one today on auction. And of course, it also follows the footsteps of the LFA. This would be a much better replacement for the LFA than the Lexus Sport concept, simply because we have a V8 in this, obviously. The most serious performance machine ever to wear a Toyota badge. You can see some photos here of the rear end. We have the mechanical pieces. And look at these massive quad tailpipes on a Toyota. It's crazy to see that we have this type of aggressive styling on a Toyota these days. Which, I mean, it's exciting to see it. This is the side view we're going to use in Photoshop later on. You can see some of the subframing here in the engine. Gearbox in the back. We have a 45-55 weight ratio, 45 in the front, 55 in the rear. You got a rear-mounted 8-speed automatic transaxle. Power is sent exclusively, of course, to the rear wheels. It could be 641 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque. V8 is supplemented by an electric motor. And then we have this race car version of the road-going GR-GT, which looks insane. And this definitely has this Le Mans race. I mean, look at the fins on top of the hood here. And this area down here, exhaust pipes on the side, massive park bench in the back. It looks pretty sick. The taillights, you can see that these are not meant for production. These are only functional pieces right here. It looks pretty cool. So it sits on 20-inch wheels, 265mm in the front and 325 in the rear. It is said to have a top speed of 199 miles per hour or 320 kilometers per hour, which I feel 320 kilometers per hour is like this supercar level, that if you're going to call yourself a supercar, you need to reach 200 miles per hour. Now the interior here, I think it looks pretty decent, to be honest. The seats look fantastic. The dash looks great as well. I can't really tell if we're going to zoom in on this later in the video, if we have climate settings being physical or digital. Steering wheel, flat bottom, and red little marker up top looking great. The dash looks great as well with specific graphics for it. You can see it right here. So it looks pretty cool to me. It looks cozy. I would feel like I sit pretty low down in this. That is what you want in a car like this, of course. Red leather, Alcantara, custom digital instrument cluster with unique graphics. GR branded steering wheel. You can see it right here. GR says GT in the middle. This reminds me a lot of the Ford GT logo right there in the middle. You got paddle shifters, of course, and a central instrument infotainment panel right here. So final details may evolve before production. Pricing, we don't know what this is going to cost, but I've heard $250,000 for this or something like that, which is, I mean, $250,000, and you say, people will wonder, well, like, what did you buy for $250K? And you're going to say a Toyota? It's kind of strange. Would make more sense to have this be a Lexus. But let's jump into Photoshop here and compare the sports concept from Lexus to this new GR GT on the left side. And I'm going to let you know why I feel like this is way more Lexus to me than a Toyota. Specifically, if you look at the hood here, you have this very typical Lexus styling where you have this line goes down and then curves up before it reaches the front of the hood right here. This is a typical Lexus line that I don't think I've seen on a Toyota. I might have missed it. Then we have the intake right here for the big V8 up front, and we have this line in the lower section being open, creating the housing for the headlight units, which I think looks pretty cool. And just have a simple hockey stick like this. It looks pretty decent to me. And we have very simple graphics, classic layout with a big intake right here in the middle of the vehicle, and then we have the two big ones on the side here as well. Nice chamfers all around these key graphics as well. Looking pretty sweet, and I do like this color. It looks nice, and it looks classy to just have it be in silver. It looks very nice. Now, looking at the sport concept, honestly, I'm still not a fan of this design. I made a couple of videos on this already. I just don't think it is a beautiful looking machine, even though we have all the curvatures we need for a beautiful vehicle like this. The positioning and the sizing of the graphics, the front end sits too high up for me. I want to bring this nose further down and make it more pointy, more angular, similar to what we have in the Toyota right here. And then we have these graphics on the side, typical Lexus swoosh Nike logo right here for the headlight unit, of course. And we have this peak up here in the hood. It's just a very strange looking design that does not look beautiful to me at all, to be honest. I'm just saying what I think about these designs. Now, look at the side view. As I said, we don't have a proper side view for the GR GT, so I use this explanatory side view right here. You can see the positioning of the driver, just how tight this greenhouse is close to the head of the driver. And look at this. If we draw a position right here, a line where the driver is sitting, this is some old school Mercedes SLS proportions, because you have almost 60% of the entire length being in front of the driver, and this is a front engine vehicle. And then you have the 40% being the rear portion behind the driver. But we have the transmission in the back side here, and we have the V8 sitting behind the front axle, meaning that this is technically a mid-engine vehicle. And what I love about this is we're bringing back long hoods. This has a way longer hood than what we have on the Sport Concept here to the right. And you can see that we have this fluidity in this design, which looks pretty nice to me. But they say that this is going to replace the LFA. I don't think it does that, neither in terms of design or in terms of drivetrain with an EV powertrain. It's just not going to be the same as the LFA. It's just a fact that we need to have a proper engine, because the engine noise of the LFA, it sounded like a Formula One race car. It was such a great noise, and not having that be completely quiet is just going to, ruin everything that was great about the LFA. And here you can see this little pointy thing up here, very sharp corner in an otherwise very round and fluid design. We have a sharp corner here, 90 degrees as well. I don't know about this. I need to wait until I see it in real life to get my final opinion on it. Now, looking at the rear end, as I said in the beginning, I don't think this is a This is not a beautiful looking car. I would not call this a stunning piece of art on wheels. It's more of a pure 100% functional design for this. You can see the massive diffusers in the lower section right here. Love to see simple quad round tailpipes in the lower section, probably some active aero down here as well. And then we have this piece sticking up very high up, the body colored piece right here, and we have massive vents right here going down all the way down, meeting in the same line as the exhaust pipes. So very industrial looking rear end, but I do like it. And if we're gonna have a car like this, that is this high of a performance vehicle, it needs to be more of a functional design, I would say, than a beautiful looking design. Even though you could mix them both pretty well, I think Gordon Murray is the master of doing that right now with his vehicles. Now looking at the Sport Concept right here, the rear end is by far my favorite view for this, because we still have pretty nice graphics in the rear with this big black portion right here, massive diffuser, you can't barely see it right here in the lower section. Brake light right here, and we have pretty static looking designs for the taillight. I mean, look at these sharp corners here, but we've talked about this before. This is the trend that we're in right now, to have more of an industrial feel for the graphics. You can see that definitely in this Lexus Concept right here. I do prefer the taillights of the Toyota in this case, because simple reason, it's just a little bit more dynamic, some more thickness in this area going into a thinner piece, and of course we need to have is 2026 soon, but in today's day and age, pretty much like 80% of new cars all have a light bar in the rear. It's starting to get a little bit old in my opinion, but in this case, what I think it does is just emphasizes, it just stretches out the key graphics in the back. And you can see this GT logo, it looks very, very much like the Ford GT logo in my opinion. And last but not least, these interiors, and here you can clearly see which one is more production ready than the other. The Lexus looks way too conceptual for me to be able to put this straight into production as it is right here. Too many conceptual pieces. The steering wheel looks a little bit too wild for production, but I do like the, maybe it's a comfortable drive to have a steering wheel like this, a yoke steering wheel. I haven't tried the Tesla yoke yet, so I can't really tell you what I feel about these, but looking at it, it looks very cool. We have some nice graphics here, but still, what is going on here? Completely empty. I mean, it does show that this is a driver-oriented vehicle for sure, but this interior here looks way better than the Lexus in my opinion. First of all, it is, of course, 100% production ready. They don't really need to change anything about this interior, and I don't think they will change anything for this interior. But as you can see, when we zoom in here, we do in fact have the physical buttons for the climate settings, which is absolutely fantastic to see. Gear selector here, a couple of more buttons, probably drive modes and stuff like that. Steering wheel looks fantastic as well. Red stitching on the inside, flat bottom steering wheel down here, paddles, of course, start button up here, and a special gauge cluster for this vehicle right there. And the overall layout with the vent design and all of this, it looks like the designers actually put in some effort to making this a very, very nice looking interior. You can see some USB-C ports in this area right here as well. So overall, looking forward to seeing these out on the roads. I'm not sure how many they're gonna build or what the pricing is gonna be, but it is a huge step forward for the GR section of Toyota, the performance section of Toyota, bringing out a car like this and actually putting it with a V8 and putting this into production.